So step one is just to prepare the asset. So there are a couple of considerations as it relates to preparing assets. And well, one of the biggest ones is optimizing the asset. And there are a number of links in this guide for giving you some insight into best practices for optimizing assets, when and how to do that. So there's a pretty good demonstration on asset optimization. Also within the maximizing page performance advanced collaboration session video, there's really good guidance on that. So we're not going to go through that here. We just recommend that you look and use these links, go to the CMS Online Help Guide and review those just to get some insights into how best to optimize assets, because that can happen in a couple of different ways. So file optimization is one of the most important things. Choosing the proper format, so if it's a PNG or a JPEG, we've got some guidance here. So JPEGs are they're best used for photographs and still images, and when there's a lot of detail within an image, it uses a lossy compression, so it's able to display millions of colors. And for PNGs, they are used primarily in graphics and logos. They've got a transparency channel, so if you want to put a logo in on top of another picture, PNG's a great way to go as well. So making sure you've got the right file format. Again, XD should be taking care of a lot of this, but just in case you end up doing this on your own, there are just some basic considerations. And one of the biggest things is this asset naming convention. So for all assets, we've actually established some guidance for a naming convention. Every group may do it slightly differently, but having a practice in place is one of the best things that you can do. This is just going to add continuity, findability, and organization to your file structures in the DAM. And when you go to look for assets, that's going to help considerably as well. So just like anything else, if you were to have your files on your computer or anything else, you're going to want to go through and make sure that there's at least some sort of an approach put in place for how you're going to name those, and then keeping it consistent. So we're going to go into, real quick, we're in the WCM and we're in a page here. We're going to do some searches on, just to show just kind of the benefit of having these named correctly. And there's a number of benefits, also because the image name can also be exposed to the public. So you don't want to put things like test image or Bob's last attempt at graphic design or something like that, .png. Just make sure it makes sense. So we're in the WCM right here, and we're going to do some searches on and looking for some assets. So if we were to go through and do a search, again, so part of the naming convention is to add standardized TLAs or three-letter acronyms for image types. So for instance, for hero, we have HRO. That's our hero, three-letter acronym. And that's going to return some results there. But let's go through and we'll just show how this works. We've talked about, you've already been introduced to the Content Finder, so you know it's a whole word search. But if we were going to look for a logo, we'll put the acronym in there. LGO is kind of what we recommend for the logo naming convention. So put that in there, and you can see within these names we have LGO. There's a ton of them, so there's quite a few in here. But if we add a space and put QuickBooks in there, that's going to narrow that search down considerably. So again, having these named correctly helps quite a bit. We could also put in some other qualifiers, say PayPal, and now we're down to 2 logos. So if there happen to have been numerous versions of this, and my guess is that one of these is mobile, one of these might be desktop, of just logo QuickBooks, this is just a great way to sort through and narrow down your search, and it all starts with naming your assets correctly. So anything that's a logo that's related to QuickBooks is in here, and then you can just go a little bit, refine that search, and get better and better results. And I guess if I was to pop in mobile, yeah, it's only going to show one of those. So anyway, that's just kind of the end result benefit of having having your assets named correctly. And you can find guidance for this, again, in the CMS Online Help Guide. We've got the Asset Naming Convention. So that's something that you can look at. So So in terms of the steps on preparing assets, we're going to show downloading as its own separate video. You can click on that and take a look at it. There are a couple of different ways to do that. But optimizing the assets, making sure it's the right format, and then naming them correctly is all of the first step in preparing assets.